in our last episode, we made a dog. See, look at that puppy dog. We did that. We did that. Okay? That's amazing. Without any programming knowledge whatsoever, we generated a dog with our new AI image creator. Okay? Now, next up, they're like, okay, what do you want to do next? And they're like, setting up Firebase for user authentication and storage would be the next logical step. And I'm like, all right, sure, let's do that. Does that sound good to you? Yeah, let's do it. So, okay, so then I say that. So Firebase and Firestore. So Firebase is what we're going to use for user authentication. So people are going to be able to log in and just see their images and access their information. We'll be able to control their usage and ultimately charge them if we want. So we'll see how that goes. We definitely can do it. Pretty much anything can be done now without any previous knowledge or ability. Truly. So let's set up Firebase. Excellent. Let's go to Firebase integrated into your app. It'll be a foundation for user accounts and saving generated images. First, I'm going to install the Firebase SDK for JavaScript. It asked me if I wanted to do that. I pressed yes. I'm sorry you missed that, but I did. It added the 80 packages and blah, blah, blah. Great. Now it's installed. Now you need to set up the Firebase project and get your project configuration details. Just with the OpenID, we'll store these in the .env local file. Okay, so now it's like go to Firebase console, create a new project. Inside your project, click this little icon and add a web app, give it a nickname, and that's enough for one human brain. Okay, we're going to click this Firebase console. Okay, it's going to ask you, do you really want to do that? And the answer is yes, I really do. I really do. Okay, and it's going to take you to a page that probably looks like this. Okay, if you have other Firebase apps running, you might see those here, but we're going to click this. We're going to click Get Started with a Firebase project. We're going to enter the name. Okay, we're going to call it AI Image Generator App. Okay, and I think because I had to put it in this organization here. I'm in my own Google, whatever they call it, console app, where you have your own domain and everything, I can't keep up with the names. I don't know. So so this is that. Okay. So I had to select that here. I accept it. Join the program. Why not? Why not? Learn things. Okay. Now here is a potentially confusing thing. It's going to say, do you want to add Google Analytics for this project? Recommended. A lot of times AI will say no to this, but I'm going to do it. But if you do it, this is what's going to happen. Okay. Hold on. Let me pull this up a little. So I think you're not seeing that screen quite right. Okay, there you go. So if I do this, it's going to say, all right, select an account, all right? And I don't have this set up right here, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to just not enable that just for now, okay? You can enable it later, okay? So there. So now it's creating the project, okay? Preparing your project. Please wait. It doesn't take that long. Should I press pause? Okay, I'll press pause. All right, it was extra 5 seconds that you didn't have to experience. So you're ready, press continue. Continue, there it is. Okay, now, if you recall, back on our previous screen, it said create a new project. Now, in your project, click this icon to add a new web app, okay? So you're going to see here, you can make an Apple app, an Android app, or a web app. Okay, and then you need Flutter, don't worry about it. We're going to make a web app. I have definitely made Android apps and Apple apps, but a web app is way easier. Okay, register it, my web app. That's probably fine, but I'm just going to call it again, AI Image Generator App. I'm not going to do hosting now. It says hosting can be set up later. Okay. I probably will be using hosting, but Firebase hosting is for static pages. It's not for programs. So don't set. you can do that later. Register your app. All right. Okay. Now we come to a page that has some gobbledygook. Okay. Now it says, run this npm install Firebase. We already did that. Okay. Did you see that? Where was it? Yeah. See, we did that. Okay. Now, give it a nickname. After registering, it will show you a Firebase object that looks like this. Okay. It's going to show you something that looks like that. Now, hold on. Okay. All right. So that's all your juicy details. Okay. Do you understand? Juicy details. So, what it's going to say here is you're going to copy these values and add them to your env local file. Okay. And they're going to look like this. I'm going to show you. It's telling you exactly how to do it. You're going to put in all of these in here, and I think they're exactly set up like that in Firebase. Let me double check. Hold on. Let me see. No, they're not. So what you're going to do is they're named a little bit differently, I think. Let's see. Can I use? Yeah, they're definitely named differently. So you're going to be able to connect the dots, but the way you're going to name them in your .env.local file is like this. So this could be this could cause you a little bit of trouble. But don't worry. If you have trouble and it doesn't work, your AI is going to know that and fix you up. Okay? All right. So I'm going to pause this and I'm going to set this up in my .env.local file. All right, so I've added those to my .env.local file. This is probably the number one way you will make things not work. Anytime you have to type something in, you're asking for trouble, trust me. But it's okay, because it'll be like, hey, that didn't work. We need to double check some stuff, okay? But it says, let me know, and I will create the Firebase initialization file for our app. Okay, and so I'm just going to type, I just added those variables. Okay, so there you go. So now it's planning its next move. Successfully integrated Firebase. Create a new file. So it's adding a new file. It's adding this stuff. Okay, so it's just doing some really great stuff from a safety point of view. It's not passing your variables, your privacy variables through the app. Excellent. It's set up. It's complete. Now we can start building a user authentication flow. A common and user-friendly approach is to use Google sign-in provider. Here's the plan. Enable Google sign-in in your project. Add a sign-in button. Create an authentication context. Best practice, let's see, create an authentication context to manage it. Implement sign-in and sign-out logic. Please first go to your Firebase project navigation to authentication sign-in method and enable Google provider. Okay, so let's go over here. Hold on. Okay, 1 second. Okay. All right, so here we are. All right. So do you remember what it said to do? I don't. I think it said build, but let's go double check. It said go to sign in. Okay, here's the plan. Enable sign in, okay, in your Firebase project settings. Add a sign in button to our UI, okay. So navigate to authentication and sign in method, okay. Now, it's right here. It's under build, but it didn't specifically say that. Now, I happen to know that, but if you go in over here and you're like, I can't find authentication, you can just be like, I don't know where authentication is, and it'll say, no problem, we'll just guide you through that. It's really good at understanding that. So the general gist is you go to authentication, you click get started. And again, it has Ask Gemini. I mean, AI is just everywhere now. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do native providers. We're going to do email, okay? And I'm just going to enable email password. I would start with the easiest stuff, okay? You want to do the easiest thing first, because if you start doing hard stuff right out of the gate, then you got a lot of other things that can go wrong and cause you problems. I highly recommend starting easy and layering things as we go. So we're going to do email password, not email link at this point in time. Okay? And so it's enabled. So let's go back here and see what it says. Okay. Enable the sign-in, add the sign-in button. Okay. Once you've done that, I'll proceed with creating the component. Okay. So what I want to say is I've added, okay, so I'm going to just tell it here. All right. I'm going to say, I have added, let's see, let me pull this up a little for you. I have set up email password authentication in Firebase. Okay, so we're just going to do that. Revising authentication strategy. Okay, great choice. Oh, it's always a great choice. My plan is to create a dedicated authentication component that will handle both sign up and sign in. Okay, it'll keep our main page clean and organized. Isn't that nice? Sign in and sign up. I'll create a new directory. Okay, so here it says mkdir. That's make directory. So it's going to make that directory. Sometimes I run into problems with it making directories. I don't know if we're going to have that issue now. Nope, no problem now. Now that I create a directory, I'll create the file for our authentication component. So it's auth.tsx. So, and it's not even asking me at this point. It's just doing it, okay? So here, there's going to be a sign up button, handle functions. Next, we need a way to manage the user's authentication state globally. Create an auth provider component, blah, blah, blah. It does this. Now we need to wrap the entire application in an auth provider. So you can see here that it's adding this stuff to the layout.tsx. It appears the model edit was not what I intended. It correctly wrapped the application, but it also changed the font and metadata. No, which was not part of the plan. I'll reapply the last edit, focusing on adding the auth. And here we go, reapply, blah, blah, blah. This is providing more difficult than it should be. It's more difficult than it should be. Why? I don't even know why. Like, imagine it having these problems, and I don't know why. The model is making undesired changes. Okay, here, I'll try one more time. Okay. I apologize for the repeated attempt. It appears there might be an issue with how the model is interpreting the edits. So it's like having problems with itself. Let's pause on modifying the layout for a moment. We can proceed. Okay, so it's like having trouble. I'll start by importing the necessary components. I sometimes think it adds stuff but doesn't save them. So if I click, I don't know if that's maybe the deal that I need to click accept for the changes to take place. Like maybe it's overlaying edits on edits and those aren't being taken. I'm not really sure. So it's going to do conditional logic. You're right. I made a mistake. Who's right? I've declared the loading state variable. We already have a loading state variable. Duh. To fix this, I'll rename loading state from the blah, blah, blah. Okay, and now we're going to do that. Excellent. The naming conflict is resolved. The linter error should now be gone. We've successfully created a robust authentication component, set up global authentication, updated the UI to be a dynamic based on the user's login status. Isn't that nice? Despite the earlier hiccup in the layout, the application should now be fully functional. Your local server should be reloaded. You can now test the complete authentication flow. Signing up for a new account, signing out, signing back in. Once you're satisfied for the authentication, we can move on to the final core. Storing generated images. Okay, so I'm just going to click accept. And let's see if, let's look at this. Let's go to our image creator. Okay, so it's ugly still, but don't worry about that just yet, okay? So what I want to do is I want to sign up. So I'm going to use my email. And I'm going to put in my password. It's suggesting a password, but I'm going to use another password. And I'm going to click sign up. Okay. Now, just for fun, let's go over to the project. Okay. It's going to be in authentication. And there I am. You see there? Look at there. I was just added. That means our little ugly app, which will not be ugly much longer, make a cat in the image of Salvador Dali. Okay, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. Well, let's pause. See what that looks like. Is that a Salvador Dali cat? Kinda. You know, not bad. But it's okay. So now, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign out. Okay, sign out. And then I'm going to click, I already have an account, sign in. And so let's do sagerock.com and put in my password. Oops. Hold on. Sign in. And I can sign in. And there's my cat. There he is. Okay. All right. So that is enough for this lesson. Okay. So what did we do here? Who even knows? Oh, I know what we're going to do. I know what we're going to do. We're going to come back over here. And I'm going to say, please update the README file to explain the app so far and how to use it locally. Okay? So watch. So we have this here. So I like to do this mostly for my own usage. It's a great idea. Of course it's a great idea. Everything's a great idea. Okay, so here we go. It's telling, there's the tech stack. We're going to follow these instructions. It's getting rid of that. It's just saying just do npm install. It's taking out stuff that was outdated. It's telling you how to set up your environment variables, all that. Is there anything else? Okay. So I like to do that every once in a while, and that's good. One last thing. What I want to do here is I want to do version control, okay? And I want to upload this to GitHub, okay? So let's add this to GitHub, okay? So GitHub is a version control tool for coders. So it's I think probably its highest and best use is for coders working in teams, but it's wonderful working alone because you can revert back. And I can't tell you how many times in my life everything is going super great and then AI just goes completely off the rails and ruins everything. I mean, like everything. It's insane. So getting your GitHub now, you might need, if you run into trouble with this, I can make another video about GitHub, but because I have set up authentication with my GitHub behind the scenes on this computer. If you can, I do recommend GitHub. I can't recommend it enough. When you're doing work with AI, setting up version control is very important. But here it's saying, first I'll initialize the Git repository in the project directory. It looks like one might already exist, but running this command is safe. Okay, so we're going to run this. Okay, so it's running that. The repository has been reinitialized. Now I'll add all the project files to the staging areas so they can be committed. This is that code for doing that. I used to use the web interface for GitHub, but I don't anymore because it's literally easier to do everything in code because AI does it for you. So next I'll create the first commit, which will be a snapshot of the project as it's right now. So they're making a commit. It hasn't uploaded. It's just committing it. So it's kind of packaged it all together. It's put those files together. It's uploaded. It's organizing the files that it wants to upload, and it's using this git ignore. If for some reason AI doesn't create a git ignore, I highly recommend that you ask it to create one for you. Otherwise, you're going to upload a bunch of crap you don't want to upload. But in this day and age, I think you're always going to just have one added. But back in the day, it wouldn't do that for me, and I would have to set one up either manually or tell it to do it. Okay. So go to GitHub and create a new repository, okay? You can name it whatever you want, all right? So here we're going to do that. We're going to go to, let's see, so we're going to go to GitHub. I'm going to make a new repository, Okay. And I'm going to call it AI generator image generator app. Okay. It's available, public, add, git, ignore. Now, you don't need to add any of this stuff. Create repository. Okay. Now, this is the URL it needs. So I'm going to copy this. It might have told me that. Did it tell me that? It says, yeah. After creating the repository, Git will give you a display URL. Please copy that URL and paste it here. It looks something like this. Once you provide the URL, connect to your local repository. So all I have to do is paste that URL in here. Okay, and so now it's talking to GitHub and it's uploaded. Okay, thank you. I see you created. Now I'll add this. So it's one last step. I'll add this origin for your local repository. It tells Git where to send your code. So I click run. And now it's uploading all of my code into GitHub. Okay, finally I'll push it. Sorry, one more. I'm going to push it here. And if I come over here into my code, I should see there's all my files. There they all are. Okay. And so now when I upload stuff, or say, for example, the next thing I do goes completely haywire, I have a copy of it. And in fact, not only do I have a copy here, I have a copy every time I upload to GitHub. So this is critically important when you're vibe coding, because AI just, it does it so much less than it used to, but it just sometimes just goes completely off the rails. So there you go. That is video number 2.